Yes, hello and welcome. It is the two-man wall with Johnny Ward and Adam Russell. And since we actually joined up on this Zoom call, the odds of Pochettino getting the Tottenham job have shortened with Star Sports. So this is an evolving story. And no doubt by the time you're actually listening to this, the odds will have changed more. Now, this is probably bad if you want to back Pochettino for a return to London, but it's good, maybe, if you want to back someone else. And we're also going to talk Real Madrid, another somewhat dysfunctional club, although not really comparable to Spurs. In fact, far more dysfunctional. But they've obviously on the lookout for a new manager as well as Zinedine Zidane, the club legend, departing the club. It's been a poor enough season for Real on many levels. They've kind of fallen off a little bit in Spain. Spain itself isn't what it was, despite what we saw in the Europa League last night. And obviously, we have the Champions League final, which is an all-English affair. Adam Russell, how are you?
Yeah, very well. Thanks, Johnny. The managerial merry-go-round has well and truly started, it looks like. And to be fair, I know a few football clubs that would love to be as dysfunctional as Real Madrid. So, but let's start on Spurs. I think it's interesting, this one, because, and I think it's quite similar with Real. I'm not sure where this one's going to go. It almost, Poch has moved in massively. This market is very, very fluid at the minute. We started off.
They say you should never go back.
No, but it always felt when he left, and I said it at the time, that it always felt like he could come back, that they kind of left that door open. It didn't so much feel like a souring of the relationship between the club. It just felt like maybe the end of a cycle, and maybe they needed a bit of a fresh voice in the dressing room. And maybe it was a bit of a knee-jerk reaction to try and ensure that they got Champions League qualification last season under Jose. It's obviously not worked out this season under Jose, and they're going back in. And I think what Spurs need to be careful of is becoming Chelsea, or trying to become Chelsea. They can't. They
don't have the money.
Chelsea have managed to get away for years with sacking managers every 18, every 2 years. And they almost always back them in the transfer market to some extent, maybe not massively, but they always give them something to play with. Whereas Spurs just seems like there isn't that investment in the playing squad. And I don't think they have the youth team at producing players in the same way that Chelsea do to really go with that model.
Yeah.
They need to make a plan, think, how are we going to progress the club? How are we going to become a trophy winning team in the next 2-3 seasons, and put that plan in place and stick to it?
Yeah, very interesting. And in fairness, Spurs is a rather prudently run club, which doesn't exactly, satisfy all of the fans, not necessarily all managers. I still think there's a lot more to be said for that than just basically buying success. But Pochettino is 1-2, Conte 6-1, Ten Hag 8-1. Roberto Martinez, who was probably shorter at some point or another, has drifted to 8s. Brendan Rodgers 16s. You'd wonder what they're missing out on the Champions League. Will Rodgers fancy a move that I believe he's thoroughly deserving of to a bigger club? Graham Potter 16s. Santo 16s was obviously on the lookout for a new club. Jurgen Klinsmann. Oh, you're too young to remember when he joined Spurs and all the hysteria as he used to drive his little Beetle around London in a surreptitious manner, score goals and dive at the weekend and do great celebrations.
I remember the celebration.
Yeah,
I remember the celebration. Iconic.
Scott Parker at 20s, of course, another ex-player as well.
Yeah, I think Scott Parker's an interesting one. I think maybe one for the future. I can't see him maybe getting it this time around. But like you say, Martinez was in short early in the week. He's drifted out. Nuno Espirito Santo last week was a lot shorter after he left Wolves. That's drifted out. It's drifted out from 12s to 16s, that even just this morning. So it really seems like this one is changing with every news story. We don't know if Pochettino is definitely going to be leaving PSG yet. If I was PSG, I'd be looking around at the minute, especially now with Real Madrid letting their manager go, Spurs looking for a manager, Inter Milan looking for a manager, Juventus probably looking for a manager. Who is going to be available to PSG? They might just, even though Pochettino hasn't managed to win the title this year, they might just stick with him for another season, just purely due to a lack of choice. Now, whether Poch really wants to go back to Spurs and he's able to push that move through remains to be seen. But I don't think that Pochettino back to Spurs is as clear cut as the market would have you believe at the minute. I don't think it's a good enough to be an odds-on shot. It's not 1-2, in my opinion. I think they will be looking around. They may wait until after the Euros to see if any of the international managers become available. I'm thinking, to be honest, even Gareth Southgate, if he was to decide or be forced to leave his role after the Euros, he could well be in contention. Roberto Martinez, he could come back into contention after the Euros. So I really don't feel like Poch is nailed on, but I can see why the market is favouring that way, because it's it's reasonably appetizing prospect, I think, for punters.
Yeah, and Antonio Conte is obviously another man on the hunt for a job, and managers always seem to be looking for a job. They just can't seem to sit still at all. Are immediately installed at 1-2 favourites. Is Conte a Real Madrid type manager? Raul Gonzalez 7-2, a more kind of, I suppose, one from the heart maybe. Allegri 11-2. I guess Farini 10-1, Guti, one of the lovely playmakers of his time, 12-1, Joachim Low, 22-1. Arsene Wenger and Jose Mourinho are bigger prices. This is obviously a market that's evolving quickly. Zidane has just left Real Madrid. Conte 1-2, very short price favourite.
Yeah, now this one I think is a bit different. I think obviously Conte left Inter Milan by mutual consent yesterday. So I do wonder if there's been some contact between Madrid and Conte. Obviously, they've announced today that Zidane will be leaving after a trophyless season, quite a disappointing campaign in many ways. I think Conte, to be honest, I think he's the only real option for that. And I think the market reflects that well. The fact that we've got Raul Gonzalez, like you say, maybe it's a bit of a nostalgic pick within the market. He's never had a senior management role. He was given just one season as Real Madrid Castilla manager, which is obviously the B team, or being demoted to the under-19s. So the fact that he's installed a second favourite in this market, I think tells you all you need to know. There's not a great deal of options out there for Real Madrid, the kind of caliber manager they'll need. Looks like Allegri will be going back to Juventus. So you can pretty much seem to rule him out. So I think Conte at 4-7, yeah, it's short, but I just can't see them going any other way at this point. I think they'll want a proven manager who's proven it in Europe. He's proven it in different countries. He's obviously had a great season with Inter Milan. So yeah, I do think Antonio Conte will be named the next Real Madrid manager.
Yeah, it is kind of, I think it's great to see a lot of these big clubs in financial difficulties. I think they've far too much money as it is. I would like to see, smaller clubs maybe get a bigger share of the pie, but maybe that's not the way football is going with global audiences and all that. They want their Galacticos, they want their big teams. But in any event, English football on the level of on the pitch is very strong at the moment. Manchester City, Chelsea, I was competing in the Champions League final. This is an interesting one for me because Chelsea have been excellent under Tuchel, but at the same time, Man City should win. And in fact, like 17-20, I'd be nearly tempted by it in 90 minutes. If they play well, they should win this game.
Yeah, again, like you say, it is a difficult one. I think Chelsea's peak of March and April seems to have faded away a bit. They've lost 3 of their last 4 now in all competitions. But then you contrast that with the fact that they've beaten Man City in the last 2 games. Obviously, one of them was an FA Cup semi-final. So that will give them a lot of confidence that they can beat Pep's side on the night. But it's hard to switch on form like a switch. If you're not playing well, if you're not clicking, if things have just kind of burnt out at the end of the season, it's very hard to kind of get around that. And yeah, it did feel a little bit like Chelsea just ran out of steam in those last few games. I think they got lucky, obviously, to finish 4th.
They did get lucky.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, it's a really interesting game. City and now
City have sort of been able to effectively take the foot off the gas since the PSG game. In fact, they'd only the cup games, and that game is a meaningful game. They've been going through the motions in the league. Pep's been able to change things, and this is like a horse that's trained for Cheltenham. Whereas Chelsea have Chelsea have been trained for the Dublin Racing Festival, but they've had a better season maybe than expected or something like that. Like that analogy there.
Yeah, no, I like that. I think that's exactly what it is. And I don't think it's just this season.
Chelsea were trained for a handicap actually, but they've progressed well, and now they're an outside champion hurdle contender. But this has been the champion hurdle has been the champion hurdle for Man City. This has been their aim all season.
Yeah, and I guess you could liken it to PSG last season. Obviously, first-time finalists, but very much a club that had been building towards that moment. for a number of years. And it does feel that way with City. Whether that added pressure might be a factor. It's almost for the Chelsea games, for the Chelsea players, it's almost, the pressure's almost off. They're outsiders, like you say. They're a handicapper who just is hit form at the right time and suddenly got an outside chance in the champion hurdle. So there's nothing to lose in that respect. They can give it everything, and if they lose, their fans can say, well, maybe we didn't expect to be here in the first place. So whether that pressure for City will be a factor, be interesting. But yeah, it's a team that's used to playing in cup finals, so you'd think that kind of pressure wouldn't come over them. But it's going to be such a big night for Man City. The players, everyone knows it's a massive, massive night for the club. If they can get over that hurdle, they could go through a period of dominance in Europe. They have all the structure and the facilities at the club to dominate Europe. So if they can get over that last hurdle, we could see the floodgates open. So it's going to be a really, really interesting game. One of the things that I picked out was about the referee. Interestingly, it's the same referee that sent Pep to the stands in the Liverpool quarterfinal tie in 2018. And after the game, Pep said he liked to think of himself as special and a bit different, the referee. And they had a bit of a bust up publicly, whether that might play a factor. And the other thing, he's averaged in the Champions League, he's averaged 5 yellow cards a game so far in the Champions League. And over a longer period in La Liga, he's averaged like 4.7 cards a game this season. So I think he's a bit card happy. So I pulled out over 4.5 cards at 21-20, just because I think it could be a bit of a spicy one. The clubs that have played each other a couple of times recently, there's that set the cup, knocked them out of a cup semi-final, then beat them again. Could be a bit natty, could be a bit tense.
You've gone for a build-a-bet here as well, that basically, especially if there's an early goal for Man City, you're going to get a little bit excited.
I like this one. I know it's 18-1, but I do like it. So I mentioned that I'm having 4.5 cards. My head is saying Man City are going to win. I think they can get it done in 90 minutes. In my head, I thought 2-1. So I've gone both teams to score, and I've gone under 3.5 goals. So that's Man City to win, both teams to score under 3.5 goals, and over 4.5 cards is 18-1 with Star Sports Build-A-Bet, which big price, but not out of the question. It's a big final. There'll be some fouls. The referee might want to stamp his authority on the game early by getting his cards out. So yeah, 18-1 on that one.
Your bet is Man City to win 2-1 with over 4.5 cards, if you want to look at it that way.
Basically, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay, so it's time to win a 200 quid free bet as well. 10 yes or no answers on the final. We've had a lot of entries for this already. Person with the most correct answers wins a 200 nicker free bet. Simple as that, exclamation mark.
Yeah, is that as simple as that? 10 yes or no questions. Person with the most answers wins a £200 free bet.
And finally, the Star Sports Greyhound Derby.
I've been 7 days to go, mate.
Yeah, somebody was saying, somebody was on to me during the week about me doing a book, like as in writing a book. And I said, the only book I'm going to be doing is the book with Flynn and the lads in Toaster, Greyhound Derby night, sponsored by Star Sports, where I'm given one of the pitches for a couple of minutes and bid to take on this favourite and, land Star Sports in massive financial complications.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a dream more than it's a non-fiction book, is it?
Oh no, it's going to happen. But it's a book, as in the book. The book is the book that I make for the race itself, the gambling book, not an actual book that I'm going to write. And I'll get to meet you guys for the first time.
Yeah, I've not been invited to that one yet, so I might have to drop a subtle word into the boys so I can get down to that one. But yeah, 7 days time, round one gets underway at Toaster. We have 188 confirmed entries in the Star Sports Greyhound Derby 2021 so far. Head over to starsports.bet.co.uk to check out all the entries and check out our preview videos. Julie Collier, Ian Fortune, Jonathan Kay, Star Sports own Martin Lofty, Chapman. There's 3 videos previewing the UK dogs, the Irish dogs, and having a look at the anti-post market. So yeah, get over to starsportsbet.co.uk and watch them now.
Excellent stuff, Adam.
Thanks, mate. Have a good one.
Yeah, enjoy the weekend. And we hope you've enjoyed The two-man wall so far this season. Adam is going for a bit of a Hail Mary, 18-1. It's basically that Man City win 2-1 over 4.5 cards. You can be very excited, and you can invest your winnings obviously in the Star Sports Greyhound Derby, or in the market to be the next Spurs or Real Madrid manager. We shall talk to you next week.